Good morning, UPBOptionMillionaires.com, October 15, 2014. It's a Wednesday, and stock futures are falling out of bed this morning. About a couple hours ago, they were even. They were flat. Actually, even towards the overnight, it started the overnight session. Futures were much higher. They're up 0.4%, just crumbling now. And I think a lot to do with the energy complex just collapsing. We have crude oil down again overnight, down almost 2%, was down 4% yesterday. Continuing that move to the downside is ironic right here at the highs. Everybody's talking about this going up to 130, 140, and here we are at 80. This was based upon this conflict in the Middle East, and now we're selling off for a little excess supply out there. But this will be good at the pump, 15 to 20 cent cut in gas prices over the next couple weeks. But of course, when oil is rising, it's a tax on the consumer, and when it's cratering, it's bad for the economy. So you just can't win. Let's look at some charts here. We have the bond market. Look at TLT. Once it got over that 119.50 level, it's been on like Donkey Kong. We got stuck right here. It was a consolidation pattern. And look at this spike up we're at. We're over 124, and if you look at TLT, this is terribly bullish for bonds. You see bonds being bought like this. I talked about it yesterday in my video. The 10-year Treasury note over in Germany was yielding the lowest rate of return in its history, 0.84%, something like that. So you see TLT, 124.06. We're up here. Let's see what the record highs was. We're right there. Yeah, new all-time record highs for TLT. New all-time record highs here pre-market, about 20 minutes before the market is going to open. Kind of defies logic here. And if you look, bonds are being bought hand over fist, but the market's down. We're still back to the tech wreck lows. If you look at S&P 500 futures, there's the montage here. We've got gold futures pulling back a little bit, but they've spiked. We have the S&P 500 is moving off its lows at about the 185.42 level. The VXX was 41.75, it's pulling back, so the VIX is going to see a nice spike to open the trading session. But if you look, the SPY, which of course is breaking down here, is still up at these lofty levels, in spite of the strength that we're seeing for the bond market. So the money is, there's still a lot of money out there. What's happening is whoever's selling here is putting it into the bond market, yielding pretty much nothing. Nothing! We have earnings this week. Might be a good time to get in some call contracts. They're talking about Google earlier this week as being the first trillion-dollar company ahead of Apple. So we'll see. Google is right at support. Look at this chart. You bring across horizontal and trend line support here. We're right here. This is the juncture. Hey, we could see a collapse down as the last big earnings move back in November, I believe it was. We had that big move to the upside, been consolidating. This is an elongated cup and handle pattern. But I'll be buying a couple lotto calls for the $600 strike because I think ultimately that's where Google's headed over the medium to long term. And we can look at Apple is consolidating still. Look at this beautiful wedge pattern. You can see it's narrowing. It's getting to a point where it's going to make either a sharp move to the upside or the downside. And I'm leaning towards the upside. We have Priceline. The target for the stock was downgraded, was moved lower this morning from, 1,600 to 1,550 by some analysts. And you can see this beautiful hammer pattern. We'll see if this marks a reversal for the stock. I was looking at this 1,100, 1,110 level as being long-term support. It broke right through it like a hot knife through some warm butter. And we'll see where the selling stops. I mean, if it doesn't stop here, we could be looking down here at the 750 level. Let's look at, we have Boeing. And I like Boeing. There was an analyst came out earlier this week talking about this as a long-term trade. And you can see it's actually making lower highs. That's not good, but we're maintaining support at about the 120 level. So we get back down here, we should at least expect a bounce to 120. If we break this level, I'm Captain Ambiguous. We could go this way or we could go that way. I don't care because I don't trade with real money. I'm just a commentator. So we can either break, once we break this level, it's going to be a significant move to the downside. I don't know if that's going to happen here. I think we're going to find support. We're going to make a move up. I'm actually looking at some Boeing calls today. We'll see what happens. Caterpillar is mired in a nasty sell-off after hitting, again, trying to break out to record highs and hitting long-term resistance. We'll see if we get that pull back down. It might hit 75 before it sees some more upside, and John Deere was downgraded as well. But it's been, look at that spike up we had yesterday, but it's down 1% here. It's the same thing. You could draw a channel across here, supports at about 70. Same with Manitowoc. Manitowoc, look at that. I haven't brought this chart up in a long time. And look where it hit, support, former support in this channel before it broke out to 32.50. It's dropped almost 50%. Pretty wild move for Montawak, but it was downgraded yesterday, I believe. JP Morgan Chase upgraded today, upgraded. And look where it came down to. I just brought this chart up yesterday. You can check if you want. It did not, I had this channel up. Look where it came down to yesterday at earnings. Right to this, and that's why it's so important to have a software that will maintain your trend lines, because trend lines work, folks. Look at this. So we bounced right off of that support line and we look poised for higher prices. How about Goldman Spectacular? Goldman Spectacular, another one. Look at this. This long-term trend line I put into place held yesterday. Let me see if we get a move back up for Goldman Sachs. So it's a scary market out there. It's the Halloween season. I don't know. It's not. I shouldn't do that. That's a Christmas song. But it is. You go to Walmart. They have the Christmas decorations up. So we might as well just treat every holiday like Christmas. You know, Christmas in the summer, spring, fall. So this is breakdown. This chart looks very, very vulnerable. But at some point, we're going to reverse course, and we're just it's going to be like magic. And we're just going to head back to record levels. And everybody's be like, well, but I was short the market, and I lost it all. Again, I was talking about it in the chat room. This is not a time for me. Personally, I still can't wrap my mind around a significant market crash here just because everybody thinks it's going to happen. So I've been trading pretty light. I'm actually in some DDD calls. DDD is coming back up. It's coming back. I like this in spite of the market weakness we're seeing. Hey, it's down almost 2%. Guess what? In all likelihood, it's going to be back over this $43, $44 level. Same with XONE, which has been moving. This is a weekly chart. You can see it a little better in the 2-year daily chart. It's been making a move off of this long-term support line here, and $25 is not far away. You're so far away. All right, little singing this morning. And then let's do one more chart and call it a morning, because the market's going to open in about 15 minutes, and I want to be ready to buy some dips. Let's look at RIG, which was downgraded today. And you can see it's broken through long-term support. Was kind of holding in a nice range here, trying to break above 30. I think yesterday even it broke above 30 briefly. I really like this stock as long as it keeps its dividend. The dividend yield is something like 10%. But if you look from the long-term chart perspective, look at this breakdown. So we see if we can get back up long-term resistance, and you can see this is similar to what we're seeing, for instance, with Apple, right? But Apple, it's a pennant formation. It's not holding the same constant low level here, the support level. But once it breaks down, it's tough to get in. How about U.S. Steel, which was breaking down and it broke out of it? See, that's what you would like to see with RIG. You want to see it consolidating and then breaking out. A huge candle. And the irony of U.S. Steel is when it was when it was in the 20s. The analysts were downgrading it. You suck. You're an awful stock. And I'm telling you, precisely here and up here, the analysts were drooling all over themselves, upgrading it. 48, 50. It's going here. It's going there. And look what happened ever since. So you can't rely 100% on what the analysts are saying because they don't have your interests in mind. And we see what happened. If you had bought on the analyst recommendation and upgrades of the stock, you're not doing so good. We'll see. It's back at this gap up level here. U.S. Steel might even pull back down into the 20s. We'll see. There's a glut of steel. There was a piece, I don't know if it was in Barron's, the Wall Street Journal I was reading yesterday, talking about it. So, all right, UPB, the market's going to open soon. I got to get to work. Everyone have a great trading day. Let's take one last glance at S&P 500. Look at, oh my gosh, look at TLT just rocking. S&P 500 futures are off their lows, pulling on a 1-minute chart. We'll see if this is the start of more selling or if we bottomed here. All right, UPB, goodbye.